Hello, friends, and welcome to Escaping the Mouse with your host, me, Breck Rowell. All right, I got a little work I got to do today. It is time to register my vehicle again, and that means that I need to go get an inspection of the vehicle, make sure it's okay. I got a little confused because I received information that I had to re-register my vehicle, and then like 2 weeks later I received another notice and didn't really look that closely at it. Just saw that they both had come from the Texas Department of Motor Vehicles, and I figured that was weird. Did I miss the first one or something like that? No, it turns out that I got that trailer and I got to get that thing re-registered too. So that's something that can happen separately because I don't need to get a vehicle registry or a vehicle inspection to do that. But we're going to get both of those done today. I got to run over the insurance company because I got to provide proof of insurance, and I don't seem to have the current paperwork. And then I'm going to also run over and get the vehicle inspected. So that's the task for today. Let's go. So when you go out on these little adventures, you never really know what's going to happen. I ended up over at the insurance company and got another copy of my proof of insurance card, which I needed. I then went over to the place that was going to do the maintenance check on my vehicle. It was a little too late in the day, and they really couldn't help me. They said if I wanted to, I could leave the car and they'd call me in 3 hours. I was like, yeah, that's not going to work out for me because I don't have any place to go for the next 3 hours. So I elected to do that another time. I decided to stop by Home Depot just to look for something that, I'm thinking about for a future project. Didn't find it, but when I got back out to the car wouldn't start. Now, I kind of knew from the symptoms, the way it was working, the way it behaved, that I think I had a dead battery. And in fact, the first couple times when I started up in the garage, when I started up at the insurance place, when I started it up at the auto mechanic place, it started kind of funny. And then when I got to Home Depot, it wouldn't start at all. So I got somebody in the parking lot to give me a jump, and I ran over to a auto parts place, got a new battery, and we're going to put that battery in now. So, you know what? I wasn't sure where this vlog was going to go, and now we know. Now, the truth is, I should have known this was coming because this is a leased vehicle, and it's the third leased vehicle I had. And the last leased vehicle I had, the battery died about a month before the lease was up. And so I went into the place there to get a new battery for it, and the guy said, so what do you want? You want a 60-month battery? You want a 72-month battery? I said, no, this is a lease vehicle. The lease is up in a month. I want the smallest battery you got. So I know he was a little disappointed he couldn't sell me a larger battery, but I think he understood what was going on. So I should have known this was coming, and here we are. So this is the battery right here. This is what needs to be replaced. Basically, there's just two terminals, a positive and negative terminal, and need to disconnect that, and then it looks like it's mounted in here like this. So I'm going to start by disconnecting the terminals, and we'll go from there. Okay, the old battery came out pretty easily. Like I said, it was just the two connections on the terminals, and then there was a plate that just kind of held the thing in place. Now it looks like it's got this blanket thing on it. So since the new battery seems to be the same size and will fit in there, I'm going to try and put the blanket on the new battery too. I'm guessing that probably helps a little bit in colder weather, and we're definitely capable of getting that here, right? Alright, so I got the new battery reinstalled in here. I have not hooked up the terminals yet. Basically, I just clamped it down really good to make sure it goes, it holds in there. You don't want this thing bouncing around inside of there. We managed to put the blanket back on the side of it, so that's a good thing. I actually bought something called a battery installation kit, which supposedly helps prevent corrosion, and I'm going to install that before we go any further. Basically, it's got these little felt things that go over the terminals, and then a little grease, which I just dropped into the engine here, that prevents the corrosion a little further. So we're going to put that on. It was $3.50, and said, you know what, it's not a horribly excessive amount of money, so why not, right? Alright, we got the little felt things on the terminals. Next thing we're just going to do is reconnect the battery. We're going to start with the negative cable first, because you want to do that because then that ties the battery to the car's chassis, and so there aren't any electrical mismatches which can cause problems if you go the other way around. It's always just a good idea to work from negative first. All right, we got the battery terminals hooked back up again, and just as a note to myself, I definitely need to get a metric socket set, because doing this with a box wrench, you know, especially this one here is a very difficult angle because there's so much in the way. But we got it hooked up, got it tightened down. We're gonna put the grease on it, and we should be ready to go. So there we go, brand new battery, properly installed. We shouldn't have to deal with this now for quite some time. Now, one of the things that they do is they want to encourage people not to put batteries into the landfill. So what they'll do is they'll charge you a little bit of extra money, and the point being, if you bring the old battery back, they'll refund that money to you. So one, I want to do that anyway because I want to protect the environment, but you know what? I want that 20 bucks back too. So we're going to head on back to the auto parts place. Going to get refunded for my replacement battery, and we'll go from there. So just a little bit of friendly advice. Car batteries aren't terribly difficult to do, but you got to be careful when you're doing it. If you're not 100% certain what you're doing, let a professional do it, because you know, you do this wrong and it can go bad in some really horrific ways. You know, I'm not talking damage to the battery, damage to the car. I'm talking the battery could literally explode. And that thing's filled with sulfuric acid. You don't want to be anywhere near that when that happens. So don't assume that because you've watched my little video on this, that this makes you qualified to change a battery. When in doubt, call a pro. All right, so next day, and I did actually manage to get my vehicle inspected today. Now, this illustrates another thing that I really like about the state of Texas over California. When I used to register my car or re-register my car in California, it would be $300, $350 to register it. And in addition to that, you had to do an expensive smog check. And if the smog check failed, then it was all sorts of other hoops you had to dance through in order to get it fixed, and that also costed a lot more money. When I did my registration today, it was $75 to register the car. And so that's, you know, 1/4 to 1/5 the price of what I would have paid in California. In addition, since Texas does require that you do a vehicle inspection, part of most of that inspection cost is subsidized by the state. So while I may have paid a couple $100 in California to get my smog check done, it cost me $7 to do my vehicle inspection. So I'm going to get my car re-registered and all the inspections done for under $100, well under $100. So, you know, that's just another thing I really like about this place. So we got that done, and I think that's all that I have for today. So thank you as always for watching, and I'll see you next time on Escaping the Mouse. Good night.